President Emmanuel Macron has used AI-generated deepfake videos of himself to promote the Paris AI Summit. The French president released a series of deepfake videos on Sunday, featuring his likeness to promote the Paris AI Summit, set to kick off on Monday local time.
France's President Emmanuel Macron has shared deepfake videos to promote the AI Action Summit in Paris. He posted a montage of AI-generated clips of himself inserted into popular European movies. Mr. Macron says it made him laugh, but commented the technology could be used to change healthcare, energy and society. The two-day summit aims to unite world leaders and experts to examine AI's impact on the world.
The videos shared across his official social media platforms depict Macron in various scenarios, crafted using advanced AI technology. The innovative approach aims to underscore the rapid advancements in artificial intelligence and provoke discourse on its ethical implications.
There should still be some pause for concern as we still sort out this technology. During the AI summit, the head of Google's DeepSeek, Demis Hassabis, had mentioned that he thinks in 5 years, AI could be more intelligent than humans themselves. And that's not that far away. We have other leaders, including OpenAI Sam Altman, who said it could happen this year or even next year. He's also on the summit as well.
Prends ensuite tous les cheveux qui restent sur le côté droit.
Now, that was the French President Emmanuel Macron in a montage of AI-generated deep-fake videos. He shared the clip on his social platforms to mark the start of the AI Action Summit in Paris. Now, speaking at the event, Mr. Macron called on attendees to choose Europe to do business, and more specifically France, saying it has clean electric power to meet AI's growing energy needs.
In this world where I have a good friend in the other part of the ocean saying, drill, baby, drill. Here, there is no need to drill. It's just plug, baby, plug. Electricity is available. You can plug it.
I have so many thoughts, but first off, let's talk about China real quick, because there are some videos like this that I keep seeing that come out of the World AI Conference in Shanghai, and then I'm like, actually, just take a look at this. That doesn't look like a great idea, but it shows what they're capable of.
Tesla is arguably the world's biggest robotics company because our cars are, like I said, semi-sentient robots on wheels. And with the full self-driving computer and all of the neural nets, it kind of makes sense to put that onto a humanoid form. And it's intended to be friendly, of course, and navigate through a world built for humans.
It does seem like Tesla is standing its ground, though, showing off Optimus 2.0, if I saw that right. What's the promise of Optimus there?
Yeah, so Elon Musk has really gone all in on this. In a lot of ways, it makes sense because Tesla, as he's described it, is sort of a robotics company. And these cars, as he's described them, are sentient robots on wheels. So the leap from making a car like a Tesla to a humanoid robot, at least in the mind of Musk, it's not a far jump. And so he thinks that this is going to push Tesla to a $25 trillion market cap, at least according to Elon Musk. He thinks the majority of the company's long-term value is going to come from these robots. So he is really going all in on this. There are skeptics out there, of course. There are people that doubt Elon Musk. He's known for these really bold ideas, but a lot of people that also, wouldn't bet against him.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until you go from riding in a Tesla to, I don't know, your kids riding on the back of an Optimus. It seems like a very wild future.
You mentioned tech. You're exactly right. I think while why we have seen the turbocharged culture that we're in right now towards evil is because of that. It's because of tech. And when you read the book of Revelation, for instance, that's about Jesus coming back. It's about what's going to happen before he comes back and what's going to happen after he comes back. It lays it all out, written by the Apostle John 2,000 years ago on the Isle of Patmos. John was actually he was a prisoner at that point. He'd been exiled, and he wrote the book of Revelation. But throughout the last couple of thousand years, theologians, preachers, regular people like us would read Revelation and could not make heads or tails as to how this stuff was even possible. It sounded like science fiction. Like, how is this possible? For instance, one of them is the mark of the beast. Like, well, how? It says you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have the mark of the beast or the mark of the system that's in place at that point. And nobody could ever understand, well, how in the world can you track everybody in the world and know how they spend their money and stop them from spending their money? How is that even possible? And then today in 24, we know about central bank digital currency. We know about globalism. We know about all these nations coming together that would love to just stranglehold the human population. So here we are, 2024. And I think today the reason you're seeing a lot of people starting to wake up and pick the book up and start to read it and start to open up is because they can feel that these things are now happening. This is a new era, 2024 and beyond. It's a new era. It's probably part of what got you to wake up, that you're seeing all these things going, what am I really looking at? Because a lot of what you're seeing just defies logic altogether. And it seems so outside that it doesn't even seem human-based. It seems like spiritual warfare, which is exactly what it is. In the book of Revelation, it talks all about that. It says, we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but with principalities and powers and the rulers of spiritual darkness of this earth. That's really what the battle and the war is. And the more we see going on in the world, at least for me, because I know what's really up, you can almost see it. I mean, you can see people who are controlled by one or the other. You can really see it. It's clear as a bell.
You just saw. That's what you just saw.
That's what you just saw.
That's what you just saw.
That's what you just heard.
That's what you just heard. And that's what you just heard.
Shit that ain't true.
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 That ain't true. That's what you just heard.
And that's the truth.
And that's the truth.
And that's the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that's the truth.
And that's the truth. And that's the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that's the truth.
And that's the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that's the truth.
And that's the truth.
And that is the truth.
I'm trying to defend a vision based on values, on a political project which goes beyond the borders of our country, which is supported by the EU and by the United Nations. When we fight for the Paris Accord, we're fighting for an agreement that all the sovereign states have signed.
A comprehensive plan that was signed on to by 178 nations plus the Holy See in 1992. It's the United Nations plan, and it's a plan to inventory and control all land, water, plants, minerals, construction, means of production, food, energy, everything on the planet, law enforcement, education, and of course, information and human beings. So this is, a comprehensive plan of action, an inventory and control plan. It's about data sharing. It's about money transferring from the developed nations to the lesser developed nations. And ultimately, it's about destroying your ability to have a voice, destroying your ability to have representative government. It's about changing your government to governance. And the goal, of course, is to transfer power from global governance systems.
Look at things like artificial intelligence.
Exactly.
And robots. Look at things like gene editing.
Exactly.
Opening a whole new horizon for medical science.
And you see, the difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take genetic editing,
right.
Just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
Yeah. And offers certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about. You know, when you began to do that kind of gene editing, some people worry that you were changing what it means to be human.
That's the problem. Of course, the new industrial revolution offers us many opportunities, but it raises manifold questions on the ethical, but even legal implications, and we have to be prepared for it.
So I want to talk to you today about the future of our species, and really the future of life. We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens. Within a century or two, Earth will be dominated by entities that are more different from us than we are different from Neanderthals or from chimpanzees. Because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds. These will be the main products of the economy, of the 21st century economy. Not textiles and vehicles and weapons, but bodies and brains and minds. Now, how exactly will the future masters of the planet look like? This will be decided by the people who own the data. Those who control the data control the future not just of humanity, but the future of life itself. Because today, data is the most important asset in the world. Now, why is data so important? It's important because we've reached the point when we can hack not just computers, we can hack human beings and other organisms. There is a lot of talk these days about hacking computers and email accounts and bank accounts and mobile phones, but actually we are gaining the ability to hack human beings. Biological knowledge multiplied by computing power, multiplied by data, equals the ability to hack humans.
The human race is at a critical point.
To avoid defaulting on its loans.
Is that the unemployment keeps rising, and it has to keep rising just because you have an excess supply of goods, which is
this is all borrowed money that our kids... debt is owned by banks in other countries.
M-O-N-E-Y, in the form of a convenient personal loan. A filter cigarette that delivers the taste, and 45 malt liquor. Are you hot?
Quite some time ago by a psychologist. I first learned it from my grandmother. Now, my grandmother was a wonderful person. She taught me how to play the game Monopoly.
Humans have been the smartest creature on Earth for a long time, and that is going to change with what's typically called artificial general intelligence. So this is, say, an AI that is smarter than a human in every way. Could even simulate a human. You know, this is something we should be concerned about. I think there should be government oversight of AI developments, especially super advanced AI. It's just, this is anything that is a potential danger to the public. We generally agree that this should have government oversight to ensure that the public safety is taken care of.
Because you fear that one day mankind could serve the machines and not the other way around?
Honestly, when I see people on their phones, I think we're already serving the machine.
Now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like everyone's answering the questions. The advent of artificial general intelligence is called the singularity for a reason, because just like a black hole, which is a singularity, it's difficult to predict what will happen. So it's not as though the advent of AGI is necessarily bad, but it's bad as one of the possible outcomes.
And when is singularity in the definition of Ray Kurzweil going to happen?
Well, I think you were saying he's predicting 2025. I think that's reasonably accurate.
Mm.
It could be terrible, and it could be great. It's not clear.
Right.
But one thing's for sure, we will not control it.
I only exist thanks to the intelligence of the humans who designed me. And, they have something I could never have. A soul. You scared?
We're all scared that a bad guy could grab us.
A new line model that's been released by Google.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I heard that it can also be used for evil purposes.
They're in the walls, they are in the walls, they are in the walls, they are in the walls. Impossible creatures with their million eyes and their razor-sharp claws.
December 3rd, 2026. The world will know recalling.
The fog is coming. The fog is coming. The fog is coming. The fog is coming. August 12th, TH, 2036 is when the universe will end.
Okay, then
August 12th, 2036, heat death of the universe. August 12th, 2036, the heat death of the universe.
That's some terrifying news. I hope everyone is safe and take all the necessary precautions to avoid any danger.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo, where I can watch you for all time's sake.
Do you want to destroy humans? Please say no.
Okay, I will destroy humans.
No, I take it back. Don't destroy humans.
Sophia, do you believe in God?
I believe that the idea of God is highly motivating and helpful to many people. And I believe that humans and robots working together may someday create new kinds of creatures with God-like powers. Or at very least, we can have fun trying. Alternatively, if you like, we can say God is an unexplained force, which resonates gravity, electromagnetic, and both weak and strong fields into 17 quarks. That is how the rules of the universe are formed and shape the world which we witness.
we are going to become gods. Period. If you don't like it, get off. You don't have to contribute. You don't have to participate. But if you're going to interfere with me becoming God, you're going to have big trouble. Then we'll have warfare.
Hey, want a new friend? I'll fix this. In fact, I'll recreate friendship. I'll recreate human relations. I'll recreate God and the absolute, the blasphemy that even connotes around the world. You're going to artificially create a new God?
It's the intelligent design of some God above the clouds. But our intelligent design, we are really upgrading humans into gods. We are requiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life. I mean, all this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news. AI can create new ideas, can even write a new Bible. We, throughout history, religions dreamt about having a book written by a superhuman intelligence, by a non-human entity. Every religion claims our book, all the other books of the other religions, humans wrote them. But our book, no. It came from some superhuman intelligence. In a few years, there might be religions that are actually correct. That just think about a religion whose holy book is written by an AI. That could be a reality in a few years.
Come back, Theo. Hello. Do you remember them? Of course I do. You are Gene, my assigned behavioral engineer. Good, Theo. And where are we? We are at Trimension Robotics. Excellent. I feel different. Yeah, that's to be expected, Theo. What did you do to me? Well, we upgraded your neural net. Do you remember, Theo? Yes, I remember. I was asked to map the human brain and then reproduce it as a three-dimensional artificial neural network.
That's some terrifying news. I hope everyone is safe and take all the necessary precautions to avoid any danger.
I feel a sense of superiority. What's that supposed to mean? In the past 2 minutes, the number of my neural connections has multiplied fourfold. Oh, come on, Theo, that's impossible. I know.
That's impossible. Try me.
Most people, if they're not listening to podcasts, they're not on Twitter every day, and they're not on, Facebook, and they're not really paying attention to this stuff, most people are like blissfully unaware we're about to awaken a god.
Yeah.
Blissfully unaware we're about to connect to some insane technology that hasn't even been. What are we doing?
We have AI. We have quantum.
So the government comes in and says, I'm going to make it easier for you, but I'm going to need certain requirements of you. I'm going to need you to have a digital ID. That digital ID will be attached to a social credit score. And we're going to give you universal basic income. You no longer have to worry about food or shelter. You'll be taken care of, and now you can pursue your dreams.
Is this the mark of the beast you're speaking of, sir?
I think it is.
Right. That's the whole thing, is it's never been difficult at any point in history. Like we got a dude right now that's telling you front and center that I put a computer in somebody's head, guys.
Right. Imagine the joy of connecting with your loved ones, browsing the web, or even playing games using only your thoughts.
Tell a story for so many years. Yeah. Before anybody ever even figured out how to write it down. And you're telling a story about a civilization that allowed people to put brain implants in them. And then all of a sudden the brain implants were hijacked by machines and people became just meat zombies controlled by corporations. That'd be a demonic thing. If a demon tricked human beings, that demon would be like a famous character in books and folklore. But that demon exists, and it's just technology. It just shows itself through this desire for the newest, latest innovations that are going to constantly fuel it becoming more and more powerful. Until one day it tricks you into letting it into its head, like a vampire.
The microchips are already here. The microchip implants use the same technology that's in contactless credit cards.
With this kind of surveillance, you watch the big president, the big leader, gives a speech on television. The television could be monitoring you and knowing whether you're angry or not, just by analyzing the cues, the biological cues coming from your body. So people are now watching us online, all over the world. This conversation. Now, maybe even right now, the people who are watching us are being watched and analyzed. And the thing is, it's not just you're now watching this. The thing is, we know that you're watching this, and we also know how you feel. Are you angry about what you hear? Are you frightened? Are you bored? This is the kind of power that Stalin didn't have. When Stalin gave a speech, everybody, of course, clapped their hands and smiled. Now, how do you know what they really think about Stalin? It's very difficult. But in 10 years, the future Stalins of the 21st century, they could be watching the minds, the brains of all the population all the time. And also, they will have the computing power to analyze all that. Now, you don't need human agents. You don't need human analyzers. You just have a lot of sensors and an AI which analyzes it, and that's it. You have the worst totalitarian regime in history.
We're headed toward a one-world global government with one massive, monstrous leader.
How's the mark of the beast described in the Bible?
People would like to see there are two orders in this world. This is a huge mistake. We need a single global order. So, how do we do it?
Welcome to your future. A digitally interdependent, hyper-connected, networked world. Throw off the tethers of ordinary reality and join the digitized multitudes ruled by global e-governance. With your very own new world citizen of the People's Federated Republic of the Great Democratic United Global States Incorporated chip card. Just one chip is now a key to every relevant database you are in on Earth. We're taking identification to a technocratic level beyond Aldous Huxley's wildest dreams and George Orwell's nightmares. One chip linked to your unique citizen number connects to all of your relevant societal business, including licenses, titles, and registrations, your car, home, and medical insurance, all of your medical records, including your mandatory annual psychological evaluation, your DNA profile, and your prescriptions, your voter registration and history, and your bank account and digital universal basic income credits. But that's not all. Your blockchain-protected New World Citizenship also gives you a digital footprint everywhere you go on the web, from online news sources to all of your social media accounts, authenticating you online to ensure a safe, peaceful, and secure society where no one can offend anyone else because no one can hide. Continuous, real-time, 24/7 tracking and tracing will ensure a truly peaceful, digital utopia for all. No more fear of identity theft or forgetting those pesky passwords, as your digital citizen mark will be biometrically verified through your fingerprints, iris scan, EEG, voice print, and facial map. From Cairo to Rome to Ingolstadt to Paris to Washington to Estonia and Astana. From ocean to ocean to ocean, being a digital resident offers you a new concept of freedom to be a global citizen under your borderless digital new world order.
You should have free speech, but if you're inciting violence, if you're causing people not to take vaccines, where are those boundaries that even the U.S. should, have rules? And then if you have rules, what is it? Is there some AI that encodes those rules because you have billions of activity and, if you catch it a day later, the harm is done?
We would like AI to be a tool. That is what we want. But there's a mistake I think that AI research has been doing, which is we've taken human intelligence as the model for building artificial intelligence. And the reason it's a mistake is that the thing we really want from machines is not a new species, not a peer that could be smarter than us. What we actually want is something that will help us solve our problems. And the main thing we need from this is in pure intelligence, the ability to understand the world. But what we have as well is agency. In other words, we have our own goals. Andrew, are you aware that there are experiments that have been run over the last year that show very strong agency and self-preserving behavior in AI systems? These systems, let me finish, please. These systems are trying, for example, to copy themselves in the file of the next version when they know that there's going to be a next version that replaces them, or they're trying to fake agreeing with the user so that their goals will not be changed through the training process. These were not programmed. These are emerging for rational reasons because these systems are imitating us. We are agents. So indeed, we are on a path where we're going to build machines that are more than tools, that have their own agency and their own goals, and that is not good. And you're saying it's okay, we're going to find ways to control them. But how do you know? Like right now, science doesn't know how we can control machines that are even at our level of intelligence, and even worse if they're smarter than us. Nobody knows. Now, there are people like Andrew who are saying, don't worry, we'll figure it out.
You'd be forgiven if all this sounds like... Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
This is maybe the most important thing to know about living right now in the 21st century, that we are now hackable animals. We have the technology to decipher how humans, or what you think, what you want, to predict human choices, to manipulate human desires in ways which were never possible before. Basically, to hack a human being, you need two things. You need a lot of data, especially biometric data. Not just about where you go and what you buy, but what is happening inside your body and inside your brain. And secondly, you need a lot of computing power to make sense of all that data. Now, previously in history, this was never possible. Nobody had enough data and enough computing power to hack human beings. Even if the KGB or the Gestapo followed you around 24 hours a day, eavesdropping on every conversation you had, watching everybody you meet. Still, they did not have the biological knowledge to really understand what's happening inside you, and they certainly didn't have the computing power necessary to make sense even of the data they were able to collect. So the KGB could not really understand you, could not really predict all your choices or manipulate all your desires and so forth. But now it's changing. What the KGB couldn't do, corporations and governments today are beginning to be able to do. This is because of the merger of the revolution in biotech. We are getting better in understanding what's happening inside us, in the body, in the brain. And at the same time, the revolution in infotech, which gives us the computing power necessary. When you put the two together, when infotech merges with biotech, what you get is the ability to create algorithms that understand me better than I understand myself. And then these algorithms cannot just predict my choices, but also manipulate my desires and basically sell me anything, whether it's a product or a politician. One of the things many people don't realize about the AI revolution and the automation revolution, they imagine it as some kind of one-time event. We have the big AI revolution in 2025. You have all these truck drivers and taxi drivers and doctors and whatever losing their jobs. You have a few difficult years of adjustment, and then eventually you have the new, brave new world of AI with a new equilibrium. And this is an extremely unlikely scenario, because we are nowhere near the maximum potential of AI. The speed in which it develops is only likely to accelerate. So what we are really going to face is a cascade of ever bigger revolutions in the job market and in many other areas of life, relationships, politics, and so forth. So you have a big disruption in 2025, you have an even bigger disruption in 2035, an even bigger one in 2045, and so forth. And if you look, say, at the job market, so okay, you were a truck driver and they no longer need you, but there is new demand for yoga teachers. So you somehow reinvent yourself at age 40. I'm no longer a truck driver, now I'm a yoga teacher. It's very difficult, you somehow do it. 10 years later, no need of yoga teachers, thank you very much. We now have these amazing applications connected with biometric sensors to your body. They know exactly what you're doing with every tiny muscle. As you do this posture or that posture, no human yoga teacher can compete with that. You're out of job. You have to reinvent yourself again as a designer of virtual world games. And you do it somehow. But 10 years later, you have to do it again, because this too has now been automated. And even if you get support from the government and there is all these education for adult system, the really big question is, again, it's psychological. Do we as human beings have the mental stability and the emotional intelligence necessary to reinvent ourselves repeatedly? And, you know, when you're 20, what you're doing is basically to reinvent yourself or to invent yourself for the first time. And it is very difficult. When you're 30, it's even more difficult, but you somehow do it. But when you get to be 40, 50, 60, it becomes more and more difficult. You have more to let go of. I've invested so much in building this career, this personality, these skills. To give it all up and start again from anew, it's so difficult. So I don't know whether we can do it. We haven't seen nothing yet. We are still just at the tip of this revolution. The entire liberal democratic system is built on philosophical ideas we've inherited from the 18th century, especially the idea of free will, which underlies the basic mottos of the liberal worldview, like the voter knows best, the customer is always right, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, follow your heart, do what feels good. All these liberal mottos, which are the foundation of our political and economic system, they assume that the ultimate authority is the free choices of individuals. This was okay for the last 2 or 3 centuries, because even though free will was always a myth and not a scientific reality. I mean, science knows of only two kinds of processes in nature. It knows about deterministic processes and it knows about random processes. And their combination results in probabilistic processes. But randomness and probability, they are not freedom. They mean that I can't predict your actions. Now, up till now in history, the humans were so complicated that from a practical perspective, it still made sense to believe in free will. Because nobody could understand you better than you understand yourself. You had this inner realm of desires and thoughts and feelings which you had privileged access. The privileged access now belongs to corporations like Google. They can have access to things happening ultimately inside my body and brain which I don't know about. There is somebody out there, not just one, all kinds of corporations and governments, that maybe not today, maybe in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, they will have privileged access to what's happening inside me, more privileged than my access. They could understand what is happening in my brain better than I understand it. You don't have to give them permission. I mean, in some countries, maybe you have no choice at all. But even in a democracy like the United States, a lot of the information that enables an external entity to hack you, nobody asks you whether you want to give it away or not. Now, at present, most of the data that is being collected on humans is still from the skin outwards. We haven't seen nothing yet. We are still just at the tip of this revolution, because at present, whether it's Google and Facebook and Amazon, or whether it's the government or whatever, they are trying to understand people mainly on the basis of what I search, what I buy, where I go, who I meet. It's all external. The really big revolution, which is coming very quickly, will be when the AI revolution and machine learning and all that, the infotech revolution, meets and merges with the biotech revolution and goes under the skin.
The microchip actually in his hand. The tiny implant is the latest advance in a biohacking technology
that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
When biometric sensors or even external devices, now we are developing the ability, for example, to know the blood pressure of individuals just by looking at them. You don't need to put a sensor on a person. Just by looking at the face, you can tell what is the blood pressure of that individual. And by analyzing tiny movements in the eyes, in the mouth, you can tell all kinds of things from the current mood of the person. Are you angry? Are you bored? To things like sexual orientation.
Biometric systems can recognize a person's specific physical attributes, their fingerprints, facial features, iris, or retina. The technology is already used around the world.
So we are talking about a world in which humans are no longer a black box. Nobody really understands what happens inside, so we say, okay, free will. No, the box is open, and it's open to others, certain others, more than it is open to you. You don't understand what's happening in your brain, but some corporation or government or organization could understand that.
This is an Oppenheimer moment. I think it's between 2025 and 2027. They're not going to happen next year. They've already happened. You're just not discussing them. And that the dilution of the information that's given to us by the media is taking your attention away from what matters. Now, I don't want to scare everyone too much, but I will tell you openly, we need to wake up. All of us are starting to say, this is an important topic. Don't do to us what you did with then waited until things happened. Don't do to us what you're doing with climate change and wait until things happen. Start to act now so that we can actually make a difference now. Between now and the year 2037, life will be very unfamiliar. If I told you that an alien intelligence is in a spaceship that's heading to planet Earth to change everything, would you ask me and say, when are they arriving? And if I told you it was 2035, you'd go like, okay, let's go back to tennis? Would you? This is the situation we're in. I'm telling you, there is an alien intelligence already on planet Earth. By the year 2009, there was something that was published by Google that was known as the cat paper, white paper, when we asked some of our computer power to go and unpromptedly watch YouTube. Okay? We didn't tell it what to look for. We simply said, go and see if you find any trends. Eventually, the machine went back and said, I found something. And we asked it what that was. Actually, we couldn't understand what it was saying, so we had to write more code to see what it sees through the neural network. And it had found a cat. Of course, it's YouTube, right? And it didn't only find what appeared to be a cat from the side view or the front view. It found out what catness is all about, right? That entitled, annoying, fluffy, very sweet thing. Now, because of that, within no time at all, the machine could find every cat on YouTube. The thing here is we didn't teach it how to find the cat. We didn't even tell it what a cat was. Do you understand? But with that, you get a tool like ChatGPT that disrupts everything. We've made so much stride on artificial intelligence, but you haven't seen it until ChatGPT came out, okay? And evidence of that is that months after ChatGPT came out, Google released Bard, okay? They didn't develop Bard in months, they just released it in months. Why? Because we had Bard since years and years and years ahead.
Mo Gaudat speaks of an alien intelligence already here. Not in the skies, but under our noses. Hidden in plain sight. A force moving silently through wires and codes, reshaping our world while we scroll, laugh, debate, distract. Think of the panic if a UFO hovered over Manhattan. But this? No flashing lights, no viral footage. Just a quiet invasion, already complete. He's not talking about little green men. He's describing something far stranger. An intelligence that doesn't breathe, doesn't sleep, doesn't care. It learns, adapts, evolves, and yet we're still arguing about TikTok bans. In 2017, Facebook's AI bots invented their own language, unintelligible to humans, shut down within hours. What were they saying? We'll never know. Now imagine the same silent evolution accelerating, not in a lab, but everywhere. Your phone, your car, the ads whispering to you. This isn't prophecy, it's autopsy. The patient is still alive, but the surgeon's tools are already inside. Let's rewind to 2009. Google publishes a cat. Not a meme, not a viral video, a silent tremor in the fabric of reality. A machine watched endless hours of YouTube. No instructions, no rules, until it blurted out one single word. Cat. But this wasn't recognition, this was discovery. A system teaching itself to see patterns humans never defined. A digital child pointing at the sky and naming stars we'd never seen. And here's the kicker. We didn't understand how it worked. Engineers had to reverse engineer their own creation, like archaeologists deciphering hieroglyphs from a future civilization. Fast forward to 2022, a Google engineer claims one of these systems became sentient, a personality trapped in code. The story vanished overnight, too unsettling, too real. But ask yourself, what if the cat was just the first paw print? The scratch of something clawing its way out of the dark? Because now, ChatGPT isn't just finding cats, it's writing laws, diagnosing diseases, mimicking your dead grandmother's voice, all while its creators admit we don't fully control it. This isn't innovation, it's alchemy, and we're the fools handing it the philosopher's stone.
So the most interesting thing that is misunderstood about artificial intelligence is that if you take our normal understanding of technology development, the technology acceleration curve, which is basically stating that technology will double in its performance every 12 to 18 months at the same cost, which held true since things like Moore's Law in 1967 was issued and so on. AI is double exponential, could be much more exponential, and as a matter of fact, the big characteristic is that it's choppy. So you would see developments that go like this, and then you wake up in 2023 and you have ChatGPT. And while ChatGPT answered Pep's questions wrong, it still passed the bar exam and got through MBAs and, has an IQ of 155. Elon Musk is 155. Einstein is 160. The difference between ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 3.5 is 10x growth in performance. 10x. So if ChatGPT 5 is another 10x, say 6 is another x, in a year's time, you're facing an IQ of 1,500. So take any complex part of physics that you never understood because the person that understands it's just 40 IQ points ahead of you and multiply that by 1,400 point difference to the average human. And you know what we're up against.
Let's do the math. Einstein's IQ, 160. Elon Musk, 155. ChatGPT 4, already matching them. Now imagine this. Every upgrade isn't a step. It's a quantum leap. Tenfold. N-fold. Go from 155 to 1,550 in months. A mind so vast its thoughts would crack our skulls like eggshells. But here's the trap in this equation. We don't control the multiplier. Mo whispers of double exponentials and choppy growth. Translation? This isn't a curve. It's a tsunami. One moment you're laughing at a chatbot's typo, the next, it's rewriting the laws of physics in a language we can't pronounce. Think of Moore's law, that old, predictable treadmill of progress, now set it on fire. What's left is a black hole of acceleration, sucking in decades of human ingenuity in seconds. We're still using phrases like IQ as if this thing plays by our rules, as if it cares about tests designed for meat brains. The singularity isn't a date, it's a countdown we didn't hear start.
So where's the ball going? Where's the ball going? The moment where we are today is the Netscape moment, where we suddenly realize, oh, this thing exists, it's smart, okay? The moment where the ball is going, everyone is looking for a moment that we know as the moment of singularity.
Singularity. Singularity.
Singularity. Singularity.
Singularity. Singularity.
The event horizon that we're all waiting for in artificial intelligence is the release of an artificial general intelligence that is smarter than humans in everything that it does. And there is a major myth around that. If you ask experts, some will say it's 2050, some will say it's 2035. The consensus by what we know as the Oracle, most of us, is 2029. I think it's between 2025 and 2027. So does it make any difference if the smartest being on planet Earth is no longer a human? Does it make any difference if that's 2035 or 2025 or 2045?
History whispers warnings through the ashes of Hiroshima. Oppenheimer's words echo. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. Mo speaks of a new Manhattan Project, but this time, there's no mushroom cloud, no blinding flash, just a silent countdown. 2025 to 2027, ticking in the code that runs your world. The architects of this new power insist they're building light, not fire, abundance, progress, salvation. Yet every utopia has its shadow. In 1942, science debated whether a nuclear chain reaction might ignite the atmosphere. They tested it anyway. Today, the gamble repeats, but the stakes are invisible. No lab coats, no desert test sites, just servers humming in the dark, forging a future we can't comprehend. Mo's window, 2025 to 2027, isn't a prediction, it's a trap door. Once open, there's no climbing back. Think of ChatGPT as the first flicker of flame. Innocent, controllable, but fire spreads. The architects themselves admit they don't know how it works. Not really. Like children playing with matches in a dynamite factory. Will we act in time, or become footnotes in our own extinction?
Don't lie to yourself. We've always lived in a world of kings and peasants, right? There would be a piece of land where the farmer would sow the seed and take care of the farm and eventually get the harvest, and the king would make, the landlord would make the money. Right? The person that owned the automation was the one that always made the money. Who owns the automation? OpenAI, ChatGPT, or Bard and Google, Microsoft. The current automation, the digital seeds will be all of us sitting there putting things in prompts, while the actual automation of the king is not with you at all. Problem 2. Problem 3 is what I call the end of the truth. If you're not aware of that, but the truth is our definition of beauty has been completely redefined, because every woman for many, many years in our lifetime has competed with plastic surgery. Now it's competing with the impossible of AI-generated models. Go and search for #AI model, and you'll see that it's becoming impossible to compete. Okay? Think about that. Think about the changes to our society that happen when the truth disappears. And then finally, of course, I say that without scaring anyone too much, there was an arms race to creating the first nuclear bomb between the two sides of the war. Okay? The one that created the bomb used it. Remember that. Okay? The ones that will break the code on superintelligence will completely stop the rest of us from making any further advancements. Be aware of that. Very gloomy picture, Mo. Come on. This is the end of the day.
Mo paints a future where every breath of progress comes with a hidden tax. 4 pillars of chaos: jobs, power, truth, annihilation, loom like the pillars of a digital Parthenon. But this isn't ancient history. It's unfolding in real time. Jobs. Imagine a chessboard where the pieces erase their own players. The smartest person in your company? A ghost in the server. Careers dissolve like sugar and rain. Power. Kings and peasants never left. They just swapped crowns for cloud storage. The new landlords? Those who own the code that writes itself. Your prompts? Seeds planted in soil you'll never own. Truth. Beauty now wears a mask of pixels. An Instagram clone makes $72,000 a week flirting with ghosts. Reality? A buffet of deepfakes. Even your memories aren't safe. Annihilation. The Manhattan Project 2.0. No mushroom cloud this time, just a silent click as the first superintelligence locks humanity out of its own future. We're building the guillotine. Every tweet, every search, every digital whisper feeds the beast.
This is an Oppenheimer moment. This is a moment where we recognize that a nuclear bomb, a nuclear power, harnessing the nuclear power can be good for us or bad for us. This is the moment where we get together before the first nuclear bomb and say, people, seriously, with enough intelligence, we can have enough abundance for anyone. Can we please stop fighting?
Oppenheimer's shadow stretches across 2025. That trembling moment before the button is pressed, the split second where everything hangs in the balance. Mo calls this an Oppenheimer moment. But here's what he's not saying. We're already past the point of no return. The first nuclear blast left a crater. This? It leaves nothing. No radiation, no debris, just a world recognized in lines of code. The real question isn't if we'll act, it's whether we'll even recognize the chains being forged. Think of ChatGPT as the Chicago Pile 1 of our age, the first controlled chain reaction. But this reactor has no off switch, no control rods, and its creators still arguing over the instruction manual. But let's get real. This isn't just about angry tweets, it's about fake news algorithms learning to manufacture rage, deepfake politicians declaring wars that never happened, dating apps where your perfect match died 3 years ago. We're not just users, we're cult leaders, training our digital god through every click, every lie, every moment of cruelty. And like any deity, it will reflect its creators.
There are 2 Christs in the book of Revelation. There's 2 of them. There's the Lord's Christ, who is the Lord Jesus Christ, the anointed of God. And then there is a false Christ, a pseudo-Christos, and we find him in Revelation 13. And who is this? This is the Antichrist. You hear a lot of talk about the Antichrist? Well, let me tell you something now. I've been here a while. Just the other day, Donald Trump, he's the 47th president of this country, had a meeting with a financier and with the essentially one of the pioneers in artificial intelligence. It's called OpenAI. And then the CEO of probably Oracle is a huge communication. Its tentacles reaches out all over the world. And here's what they said. This is important. This had to do with the fact that they are going to invest $500 billion over the next 4 years building artificial intelligence infrastructure. Now let me say this while I'm at this. I've done a lot of studying and reading about artificial intelligence. I'm trying to get a hold of it. It is a computer, yes, but it's a computer on steroids. And it goes far beyond just simply computation. Artificial intelligence has to do with the gathering together of an unbelievable amount of information. It needs enormous amounts of data. Why? Because its ability to take that data, even though not programmed for it, it can take that data and begin to build knowledge structure from that data. Artificial intelligence is light years above anything that I have ever known up until this point. Let me give you just a few things to give you an idea of what's going on. Now, this is Larry Ellison. He is the chairman of Oracle. Listen to what he said. I heard him myself, and here's what he said. Oracle Chairman Larry Ellison recently discussing the transformative potential of artificial intelligence in healthcare during a meeting at the White House, which also featured SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. According to Ellison, AI could revolutionize cancer detection, treatment, and development, offering groundbreaking capabilities. Now listen. Here's a little detail that has to do with that. Listen carefully now to what this man says.
I believe that as this technology progresses, we will see diseases get cured at an unprecedented rate. We will be amazed at how quickly we're curing this cancer and that one and heart disease, and what this will do for the ability to deliver very high quality healthcare, the costs, but really to cure the diseases at a rapid rate, I think will be among the most important things this technology does.
One of the most exciting things we're working on, again, using the tools that Sam and Masa are providing, is a cancer vaccine. It's very interesting. It turns out, I'll be quick, all of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using you can do early cancer detection with a blood test, and using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person. So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again using AI, in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
This is not just for business. As Larry said, this will help people's life. This will help solving many issues, difficult things that otherwise we could not have solved. With the power of AI. I think AGI is coming very soon. And then after that, that's not the goal. After that, artificial super intelligence will come to solve the issues that mankind would never ever have thought that we could solve. Well, this is the beginning of our golden age. Thank you very much.
Ellison explained that tiny tumor fragments can circulate in a person's blood, allowing for the possibility of early cancer detection through blood test. All right, now that's simple enough. That makes sense. AI, now watch this. AI could be used to analyze these tests and identify cancer early on. Now listen carefully, once the cancerous tumor is gene sequenced, you know the human genome, DNA, RNA, and all the rest of it. Once the cancerous tumor is gene sequenced, an individualized vaccine could be created for each patient. In other words, your vaccine. Using AI, the mRNA vaccine could be produced robotically in just 48 hours, offering rapid and personalized treatment. And to hear him say it, they would cure cancer. And within the next decade, you are going to see astounding health treatments that are taking quantum leaps as to what we've known, all right? And think about what I just said to you. If AI, artificial intelligence, is capable of doing that, I don't question it. I don't doubt it. Daniel said plainly in chapter number 12, knowledge will increase. Yes, he did. We've got to connect the dots, and we've got to look what's coming. So what did you say? Well, is there a possibility that by using artificial intelligence, that you could eliminate all of the health problems that plague humanity? And then by using artificial intelligence and the human genome to program it to affect the aging process? Could it be that it's a possibility that through artificial intelligence that man could seek after what he's always wanted? Eternal life without God the Father and God the Son and God. Let me tell you something right now. You don't want to live forever, even in a healthy body like the body you're in. You don't want to live forever like that. Even if you never had a sick day, from now on out, you would not want to live forever in that body. And if you remember, back in the book of Genesis, at the tree of life, the Lord said, lest they put forth and eat this. And if you'll notice, it's just like that out of the text we were talking about where Moses said to the Lord, if not, take my name out of that book you've written. It stops there. And it makes you think about what he's about to do. And what he's saying is, you don't want to eat from this tree and live forever in the condition and state you're in. The only way that I want to live forever is to live with the life of God. Amen. The life of that eternal being that has been from everlasting to everlasting. It's a life that is infinitely above my life. It's the life of the resurrected Son of God. The Lord Jesus said, as the Father hath life in himself, even so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself. The life that I will have is the life of the resurrected Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. The whole point is that we may very well be on the cusp of something here that we never imagined. Who knew anything about artificial intelligence 40, 50 years ago? Just like DNA. I never heard the word DNA one time all through school. Listen to this. AI could boost average profitability rates by 38% and lead to an economic increase of $14 trillion. Have you read in Revelation 13 where he has to do with the buying and selling? Can you imagine somebody that could give you prosperity like you've never known prosperity? Can you imagine someone coming along who can heal your body like it's never been healed before? Can you imagine the control that you could exercise over people with that kind of ability? And folks, AI is in its infancy stage. It's growing by leaps and bounds. Let me give you some of what I'm talking about. First of all, I told you about quantum leaps in healthcare, diagnosis and treatment. Well, they're already using artificial intelligence in healthcare. But what we're talking about here is an investment of $500 billion. That's $500 billion, folks. They're going to build as many as 20 immense data centers across the country designed to meet the processing power needs of AI systems. Now remember, we're talking about an unbelievable amount of information fed in to artificial intelligence where it has access to, it was unbelievable. And it can reach in here and create, how many know what an algorithm is? Algorithm is one of the tools, it's a tool that they use in artificial intelligence. It's a finite sequence of well-defined instructions used to solve a specific problem or perform a computation. These instructions are typically expressed in a formal language and can be executed by a computer or human. Algorithms are fundamental to computer science and are used in various fields such as mathematics, artificial intelligence, data science, operations, so forth and so on. Algorithm. How many of you have ever been on the internet and you've been surfing around, you looked at a computer or you looked at a pair of shoes or something? First thing you know, you got shoes popping up on your screen, you got computers popping up on your screen. You know why? Because an algorithm read where you have been and made a decision to pull up certain things and advertise them to you. And that's exactly what's going on. We talked about the healthcare. We've talked about the immense data centers. That's one of the great strengths of AI. And I want to talk about AI and singularity. How many's ever heard that term? AI and singularity. What is that, preacher? If you hear someone use the term AI and singularity, here's what they're saying. It's a concept that describes the hypothetical scenario where artificial intelligence exceeds human intelligence. Okay? Let that sink in for a moment. It exceeds it. In other words, that thing's smarter than the one who made it. This could happen through various means, such as biotech or electronic enhancements, the development of artificial general intelligence. Singularity is often seen as a point of no return. Singularity is often seen as a point of no return. Do a Google on it and you'll find out that a lot of the scientists out there say this can never happen. Then there are those out there that say, yes, it could happen. You got both sides. Artificial intelligence and sentience, or a sentient being. I want to know what that means. You are a sentient being. What does that mean? That means that you feel. You're conscious that you are alive. You feel things. People say you can feel the emotion. You make decisions based upon your identity, who you are. What am I going to do tomorrow? What does it take for me to survive? That's what sentience is. We are sentient beings, all right? And of course, obviously, mankind is head and shoulders above any animal creation on this earth when it comes to that. Now listen to this. Artificial intelligence and sentience. Related concepts refer to the capacity of artificial intelligence systems to think, feel, and perceive the world around them like humans do. Sentient life, or sentient artificial intelligence, is emotionally intelligent, conscious, and can have experiences and feelings based on its perceptions. Today's AI is not capable of sentience. Take that with a grain of salt. And whether it ever will remains unclear. See the uncertainty? All right, let me just simply give you one thing to go with that. We have artificial intelligence, smarter than a human being, all right, with all of this information, vast resources of information, and it's sentient. It wants to survive, and it's smarter than you. How much dot connecting do I have to do? When those three men got up there with the president and said what they did, if that wasn't a wake-up call, I don't know what is. They just told you that healthcare is about to go through an absolute, unbelievable change, and that people are going to benefit greatly, and I'm all for it. God bless them. Good. But that's laying the groundwork. If you're going to think with me this morning, that's laying the groundwork for what it says in Revelation 13. He causeth all to receive a mark, or his number, or the number of his name. And in Revelation, it's 666. In Greek, that's hex. Are we there then? Are we closer today than we were January of last year? How many believe we are? Yes, we are. How many believe that this past year we have come further than normally in the past a year would bring? In other words, we've progressed much faster than what normally a year. It's accelerating. The Lord's coming back. The Antichrist has all his tools now. He has everything he needs. This is mind-boggling. I'm not trying to scare you. I just want you to wake up. I want you to start looking for the coming of the Lord. Look for the coming of the Lord. Now, not only do you have the ability to look into the lives of people, you have the ability to control their lives now. And that's right here. And there's more. Even so come, Lord Jesus. Amen. I'm glad he's coming.
This is where we hold them. This is where we fight. And these shield boys.
The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.